Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in this video today, I'll be recapping a game I played about a week ago, 25-cent, 50-cent blinds, $50 buy-in. Yeah, it's really just a story of brotherhood, deceit, and more than anything, the manic highs and lows of No Limit Texas Hold'em. Let's get into some clips.
Please be a king, please be a king.
Oh! Welcome back to an episode of Dookie Bets. It's gonna be vlog number 5. Playing a nice little cash game tonight, little home game. Wearing the Barbie shirt. Probably going to run good in that because it's a sick shirt. Alright, here we go. So as per usual, we are in for $50. Tonight we're playing 25-cent blinds. Smaller game tonight. In the first hand, we look down at Ace-8 of Hearts under the gun. We go ahead and raise things up to $1, and we get called by one middle position player and also the low jack. So we're going 3 ways to a flop.
Tropical mango vitamin water. Get it. It's yummy.
The flop comes King 7-10 with 2 hearts. Pretty good start for us. Playing out of position, we go ahead and start with the check. The middle position player checks behind us, and the low jack goes in ahead and bets $2. I pretty quickly put in the call, and the middle position player comes along as well, so we're 3 ways to a turn. The turn's an absolute juicer. It's the 4 of hearts, and once again we start with the check. And this time, the middle position player bets for $3. Weird to see him take this stab here after checking on the flop. Low jack ends up folding, getting out of the way, and now we're heads up to the river when we stick in the call. River comes the king of diamonds. Not my favorite river for obvious reasons. However, I am able to factor out a handful of full houses that wouldn't take this line, considering he never really took an aggressive route at any point. So I really didn't give him credit for any sort of full house, flatted pre-flop. Just called on the flop, bet a small on the turn. So when it's over to me, I decide to check the river, potentially give this player some room to go ahead and bluff, or even value cut himself like he did. When he jams all in, I snap call. He shows us that he has 3 of a kind, and a flush beats 3 of a kind. We take down a nice pot.
Oh, I have a flush.
Get all of your money. Bye. Please get this on video.
Hey, why are you slow?
Gotcha!
25.
Alright, this next hand, some time's gone by. We've won a few small pots here and there. Really nothing too significant. I look down at Queen 9 of Hearts in middle position, and I go ahead and raise things up to 150. After doing so, everyone folds around to the button. The button calls, and the big blind comes along as well. We're going 3 ways to a flop. The dealer flips over 3 cards in a face-up fashion, and I really like the flop. The flop is Queen Jack 9. I have a queen and a 9 in my hand. In the industry, we refer to that as 2 pair. When the big blind checks it over to me, I go ahead and throw out a bet of $3. It's back over to the button now, and he does something that I really like to see, and he raises it up to $8. Big blind quickly folds, and I have a decision to make. I can either rip it all in, or I can just call. I decide that shoveling the money in here is the best strategy, considering it is a very wet board. There's a lot of straight draws, there is a flush draw, and we don't have any of that really, so we just go ahead and put all the money in. Eventually the button does find a call here, and we're up against King 10, which is just the stone nuts. We kind of just ran into it here, not much we can do.
He needs a queen or a 9, that's it.
Queen or a 9.
Is Kyle all in again?
Kyle needs anything but that. Come on, Kyle!
Uh-oh!
Hey!
I lose.
We run things once, and King 10 holds. We lose a fat pot. It's pretty apparent that nobody at this table wants to see me win, and with fame comes haters. That's all I can really say. Next hand of the night, we look down at Ace-7 of diamonds. We've got 2 limps in front of us, and we're out of the middle position. We go ahead and raise to $1.50. It folds around to the high jack who flicks in the call, and then the big blind comes along as well, plus the 2 original limpers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop with a suited ace. The flop comes 10-6-2 with 2 diamonds, pretty reasonable flop for us. The 3 players to our right all check it over, and one of the general themes I've noticed of this game so far is that players are calling too frequently and not raising as much as they should be. They're all playing very passive. So that being said, this is a spot where I would typically find a check, given that I have a lot of equity to realize, and I don't necessarily want to be faced with a check raise. But with players over-calling and under-raising, I think it's fine to go ahead and take a C-bet here. We go with 450. In hindsight, this is way too big of a size going 5 ways. I think anywhere from 25% to maybe 33% would be a better size. This is too big. Once we bet our 450 here, the hijack pretty quickly throws his cards in the muck. The big blind calls, and one of the limpers calls, the limper immediately to my right, so we're going 3 ways to a turn. The turn comes the 4 of spades, and we have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is we're now playing 100% in position, both players to our right, so we have position on them in terms of being the last player to act. The bad news is we still have ace high, so when both players check it over to us, I decide to rip things all in here. In hindsight, I'm not too sure about this. I think this might be me getting too far out of line. However, in real time, I was trying to maximize my fold equity against 2 players' ranges that didn't seem very strong. Best case scenario being I can just take this down right here, win a nice pot without having to show anything down. Worst case scenario is we get called by something like a 10 or something of that nature, and we still have about 20% equity in this pot. In conclusion, this seems like a super marginal spot in my eyes, and I'm really unsure whether or not I like my play or not. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyways, after I go all in, the big blind really quickly folds, and it's back over to the second limper from early position, and he's in the tank for quite some time. Eventually he flicks in the call. He's got $20 behind. Let's see what we're up against. Eventually this player tells us he has spades, and then quickly flips over his hand, and he also has top pair. So we kind of get slow rolled here, but it is what it is. We run things once, and we do not get there. We lose a $60 pot. This next hand we look down at Jack 10 off on the button. We've got a middle position limp. The hijack raises to 125. The cutoff, myself, both the blinds, and the middle position player comes along. So we're going 6 ways with Jack 10 off. Here we go. I deal out the flop, and it's absolutely terrible. It's ace 4-5 with 2 spades. We don't have a spade. We literally have nothing going on for us here. But then the entire table checks around. So we get to see a free turn. Let's go to the turn. The turn comes the queen of hearts, and we now have 4 to a straight or a little gutter ball for us. Small blind starts with a bet here after the entire table checked around. I think he's going to have an ace or a queen a decent amount of the time. Following this bet, the middle position player, the hijack, the cutoff, they all call. So now we're calling $2 to win a pretty significant pot. Typically, you would not be calling here with 4 outs, but given the price we're getting, I think it's fine to go ahead and see a river.
Please be a king. Please be a king.
Oh! And I bang off pretty much the best river card I could have seen. I now have the straight. I don't think anybody's going to play a flush in this manner. And I know what you're thinking. It's probably not very good for your win rate to scream out the exact card that you need on the river, but I'm just having a good time messing around. Obviously don't do this in a real game, but I'm just having fun at this little home game, so it is what it is. Action checks all the way over to the cutoff, who bets really, really tiny for 175. Small blind folds out of turn, and it's supposed to be my turn. I go ahead and stick $16 in the middle, and it folds all the way around back to him, and he's got a decision to make.
Will I show you? What do you think? Yeah. It's going on the vlog eventually.
No, I'm not waiting 2 days to see this hand.
Oh, it'll be like 2 weeks.
Eventually he flicks in the fold, and we pick up a nice little pot in a really stupid fashion. Next hand of the night, we look down at 5-5-9-7. We've got 1 suit, and we see an under the gun raise to $1. The +1 calls, 1 middle position player calls, and I call in the cutoff, so we're going to go 4 ways to a flop here, playing Omaha. The flop comes 8-6 queen rainbow board, and we have an open-ended straight draw. Pretty good flop for us, no complaints here. The under the gun player checks, the +1 player bets 250, the middle position and myself call the 250, and then the under the gun player raises to $10. It pretty quickly folds back over to me after the $10 raise. This is a good player we're up against, so he is going to be raising a lot of his good hands like sets, and then some 2 pairs and stuff of that nature. But my hand does pretty well against all of those hands, and I think there is a chance that maybe he will, overfold to us a little bit here. So we go ahead and make a really aggressive play and shove our entire stack in the middle with some outs, also trying to maximize our fold equity. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I also think this is a pretty marginal spot. Probably could be a punt, but let me know. Eventually, our nemesis here decides he wants to call, and he throws in the rest of his money, and we're going to a run out. Eventually, this player flips over Queen Jack 10-6, so he has top and bottom 2 pair. I actually checked the spot in the poker equity calculator, and we're not doing bad at all, so I think us jamming here, maybe get some fold equity, Plus, we still have like 35-40%. I really don't hate the play, but let me know what you guys think.
It's hard to play that. Yeah, I know. Yes. That's me.
We run things once, and we lose a fat pot. He ends up boating up on the turn. It's time to rebuy. We add on for $100, and shortly after we add on, the game ends up breaking. A lot of people want to go home, so we call it a night early, and we book our first loss in the vlog. Alright vlog, just wrapped up the session. Probably going to be a pretty quick video for you. Didn't really play that many hands. Played for about 3 hours-ish. Lost $64. Happens. What are you going to do? We move on. We bounce back. Didn't turn the sand into gold today, but you can't do that every day. Until next time, Dookie Bets.